Hi everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Let's start with our Eon topic, Rage Against the Machine. Let's see what this holds. Let's just quickly get what this about. For all the promises and dangers of AI, computers plainly can't think. To think is to resist something no machine does. This Eon essay is written by Alva Noe is a professor of philosophy at the University of California, Berkeley, where he is also department chair. His book includes Strange Tool, Arts and Human Nature, which was published in the year 2015, and The Entanglement, How Arts and Philosophy Make Us What We Are, which was written in the year 2023. Let's start with the first pieces. Computers don't actually do anything. They don't write or play. They don't even compute. This doesn't mean we can't play with computers or use them to invent or to make or problem solve. The new AI is unexpectedly reshaping ways of working and making in the arts and science, in industry, and in warfare. We need to come to terms with the transformative promise and dangers of this new tech. But it ought to be possible to do so without scrambling to bogus claim about machine minds. What this passage is trying to say is actually, this passage is briefing about how the computer works and what it actually is. Author is saying that computer is not doing anything at all. We are the persons who just regulate this. But that doesn't mean that we can't, with the help of computer, we can't invent, solve the problems or anything else. But the new AI is unexpectedly reshaping way of working and making in the arts and science, in industry and in warfare. Here comes AI in the pictures. Author says that we do use computers, but it is completely operated by us. Computer have nothing to do by itself. We are the person who operate it and use it according to our needs. But now the AI came. This AI reshaping the way of working, making art in the different fields, in the various fields like in art, science, industry, warfare. For the author says, we need to come to terms with the transformative promise and dangers in this new tech. But it ought to be possible to do so without scrambling to bogus claim about machine minds. The author is trying to say here that this AI, new tech, is quite dangerous for ourselves, but it doesn't. But but it's completely depend on us how we are gonna to use this, because computer and this tech don't have their own real minds. The bogus means here are nothing, not real. We these computers are don't have a real mind. So we are the one who use it according to our needs. So how we use it and in what way, it's completely depend on us that this gonna to dangerous for us or fruitful for us. So what how can what the title should give it to this passage is how computer works, how computer and AI is dangerous and helpful for us. And what the important line we can take from here. The important point what we can take pick from this passage is computers don't actually do anything. And the new AI is unexpectedly reshaping way of working in the field of and making. The transformative promise and the dangers of this new tech. That's all for this species. Let's moving toward the next one. What could ever let us take serious the thought that these devices of our own invention might actually understand and think and feel, or that, if not now, then later, they might one day come to open their artificial eyes, thus finally to behold a shiny world of their very own. One source might simply be the sense that, not unleashed, AI is beyond our control. Fast, microscopic distributions, and astronomically complex, it is hard to understand these texts. And it is tempting to imagine that it has power over us. So here author is trying to say is that not now, but later in our life, this artificial intelligence and this text someday open their own artificial eyes, and that we lost control over them. They are the one controlling us, and it's come oh, very soon. Not very soon, but it's come very fastly because the things are changing very fastly. And what happen if they have power over us? So, what the title should given to this passage is if tech has power over us. So, what the important line we can take from here? I think this one. One source might simply be the sense that now unleashed AI beyond our control. It is tempting to imagine that it has power over us. That's all for this passage. Let's moving toward the next one. But this is nothing new. The story of technology from prehistory to now has always been that of the ways we are entertained by the tools and systems that we ourselves have made. Think of the pathway we make by walking. To every tool, there is a corresponding habit, that is, an automatized way of acting and being. From the humble pencil to the printing press to the internet, our human agency is enacted in part by the creation of social and technological landscape that is in turn transformed that we can do. So seem of threaten to govern and control us. So here author is say that it is nothing new. How the story of technology comes in a picture of our own life. Because we made these tools, and along with tools, we also made the habit of using these tools. For every tool, we make a particular habit, from using a pencil to printing press and all. So, in future, all our inventions gonna to threaten us. That's the fear author have. So, what the title should given to this species is how technology gonna harm us. How we no, the title best suitable title given to this species is how we gonna threaten by technology. And what important point we can take from here is every tool there is a corresponding habit, and that is an automatized way of acting and being. And our human agency is enacted in part by the creation of social, technological landscape that in turn transform what we can do and to seem or threaten to govern and control. So let's moving toward the next species. Yet, it is one thing to appreciate the ways we make and remake ourselves. Through the cultural transformation of our worlds, we are tool, use, and technology. And another to mystify dump matter put to work by us. If there is intelligence in the vicinity of pencils, shoes, cigarettes lighter, map, or calculators, it is the intelligence of their users and inventors. The digital is no different. So here author says, author trying to tell us how this tools or how this techs work for us. Who is behind all this we can say that applications which we use through technology. So author is saying that yet it is one thing to appreciate the way we make and remake ourselves through the cultural transformation of our world via tools, use and technology, and in order to mystify dumb matter put to work by us. So whatever the tool we are using, it's a dump. It was a completely dump, and we are the one who use it, who make this dump tools helpful for us through inventing it through different way. If there is intelligence in the vicinity of pencils, shoes, cigarette lighters, maps, or calculators, it is the intelligence of their users and inventors. So it is not intelligence of that particular machine who help us in our day-to-day activities or in any other way. But it is not their intelligence. The intelligence behind all this is a person or is a team who invent this, who use their own intelligence to invent these tools. So the digital is no different. So what the title should give into this particular passage, how the transformation of dump into a technology, a dump material into technology. So what important line we should take from here is that it is the intelligence of the users and inventors, and the digital is no difference. So that's all for this passage. Let's moving toward the next one. But there is another origin of our impulse to concede mind to devise of our own inventions. And this is what I focus on here. The tendency of some scientists to take for granted what can only be described as a wildly simplistic picture of human and animals' cognitive life. They rely unchecked on one sided ended milquetoast concept of human activity, skills, and cognitive accomplishments. The surreptitious substitution, to use a phrase of Edmund Husserl's, of this thin gruel version of my network, a substitution that I hope to convince your traces back to Alan Turing and the very origin of AI in the deceive move in conjuring tricks. So in this passage there is a lots of the word whose meaning I don't know. So I'm gonna use a Cambridge dictionary for that. Firstly, the what is the meaning of conceit? We're gonna search this meaning. It means to admit, often unwillingly, that something is true. Okay. So what author is trying to say is that, but there is another origin of our impulse to concede minds, to devise of our own inventions. That is what I focus on here. The tendency of some scientists to take for granted what can only be described as wildly simplistic picture of human and animal cognitive lives. So here author is trying to say that through our origin of our impulse, who just what is the meaning of concrete? We just learn to admit, to devise of our own invention. That is what I focus on here. The tendency of some scientists to take for granted what can only be described as a wildly simplistic picture of human and animals' cognitive life. So it is our impulse, our mind, used, who invent this devices. So that is the author trying to draw and focus on to say that that is a difference between what the human mind and the animal mind. They really unchecked on one-sided ended milquitoast conceptions of human activity, skill, and cognitive accomplishments. So what is a milquitoast? I don't know. So let's check. It means a shy, nervous person with a weak character, usually a man. So what author is trying to say here that they are really unchecked on one-sided, ended, milquetoast concept of human activity, skills, and cognitive accomplishments. So we may many times we overlook our own intelligence. So that's author is trying to say here. Own intelligence that we mostly overlook or just not give attention on our own intelligence and accomplishments. These surreptitious substitutions of this thin glue version of my network, a substitution that I hope to convince you trace back to Alan Turing. The very origin of AI is the deceived move in conjuring tricks. So your author says that it's all on our mind that this origin of AI happens. So in overall passage, author is trying to say that we need to just get this reality or get this fact in our mind that all this happens, all this made, all these inventions, this high technology, advanced technologies happen because of our own mind. So we are the main persons, we are the main who are behind all these things. So we don't need to fear about these technologies. It's completely on our own control. So what the title should given to this piece is how we overlook our own mind tendency over the tech. So what the important line we can take from here is that first, the tendency of some scientists to take for granted what can only be described as a wildly simplistic picture of human and animal cognitive life. They really unchecked on one-sided ended milquistic concept of human activity, skill, and cognitive accomplishment. This thin glue version of the mind at work, a substitution, the very origin of AI is the deceive move in the conjuring the tricks. So that's all for this passage. Let's moving toward the next one. What scientists seems to have forgotten is that the human animals is a creature of distribution, or as a myth 20th century philosopher of biology Hans Jonas wrote, irritability is the germ, and as it were the atom of having a world. With us, there is always, so to speak, a pebble in the shoe. And this is what moves us, turn us, orients us to reorient ourselves, to do things differently so that we might carry on. It is irritation and disorientation that is the source of our concern. In the absence of disturbance, there is nothing. No language, no games, no goals, no tasks, no world, no care, and so, yes, no consciousness. So, what the author trying to say that what scientists seems to have forgotten is that the human animals is a creature of disturbance. So, the scientists here author is saying that scientists completely forgotten that we humans are the creature of the disturbance. And why he's saying so? As of the mid 20th century, philosopher of biology Hans Jonas wrote, irritability is a germ, and as it were the atom of having a world, with us there is always, so to speak, a pebble in the shoe. What is the meaning of pebble? I don't know. Let's search. It's mean a small, smooth, round stone, especially one found on the beaches or a river. Okay, so on a mid 20th century philosopher biology Hans wrote Jonas, irritability is a germ and it is where the atom of having a world with us there is always, so to speak, a pebble in the shoes. That we are the person who creates a problems, who disturbing the things. And through very examples, the philosophy of philosopher of biology Hans wrote this that it's us who create the problems. And this is what move us, turn us, orient us, and to reorient ourselves to do things differently so that we might carry it on. So this how the things works. As a being a human, if you don't create a disturbance, how you can just say that oh you are moving or you're existing, that this the problems help us to move, turn, orient, reorient ourselves to do things differently. It is the irritation and the disorientation that is the source of our concern. The absence of distributions, there is nothing. No language, no games, no goals, no tasks, no world, no care, and so, yes, no consciousness. So, it is very necessary for us to create a disturbance. If it doesn't, then we are just completely what we can say the zombies or what. For being a human to exist, we need to create a different disturbance in the world. So that for how to deal with that disturbance, we come up with the new ideas and new inventions. That's how the things work. So the title should given to this species is how we humans are creature of why we humans are creature of disturbance and what the important line we should take from this species. That irritability is a jumps and it is what move us, turn us, orient us, reorient ourselves to do things differently so that we might carry on and it is irritations and this orientation that is the source of our concern. So let's moving toward the next species. Can machine things? Turing dismissed that as too meaningless to deserve discussion. Instead of trying to make a machine that can think, he was content to design one that might count as a reasonable substitute for a thinker. Everywhere is a Turing's work. The focus is on imitations, replacements, and substitutions. Here, authoring start this pieces with the questions: can machine think? But the Turing says that this is completely meaningless to discuss anything. Machine can't think. We are the one who operate it. And the Turing is completely content to design one thing that might count a reasonable substitute for thinkers. Turing is completely involved in the work of uh, replacing and substituting the things with machines. So we just summarize this pieces. Turing completely dismissed the idea that machine can think, and he's completely involved in the work focuses on imitation, replacement, and substitutions of the work with machines. So let's moving toward the next pieces. Consider this contribution of mathematics. A Turing machine is a formal model of the informal idea of computation. That is the idea that some problem can be solved mechanically by following a recipe or algorithm. Think along divisions. During a Turing proposed that we replace the familiar notion with his more precise analog. Whether a given function is Turing computable is a mathematical question, one that Turing supplied the formal means to answer rigorously, but whether Turing computability served to capture the essence of computation as we understand this intuitively, and whether therefore it's a good idea to make the replacement, these are not questions that mathematics can decide. Indeed, presumably, because they are themselves too meaningless to deserve discussion, Turing left them to the philosopher. So here what author is trying to say that his author is describing about the Turing and his beliefs, that his contribution to mathematics. A Turing machine is a formal model to the informal idea of computation. That is the idea that some problems can be solved mechanically by following a recipe or algorithm. Turing proposed that we replace the familiar notion with his more precise analog, whether the given function of Turing. So, what Turing is a work on inventor machine, that formal model to the informal idea of computation, because that the idea that some problem can be solved mechanically by following a particular recipe and algorithm. Turing computable is a mathematical question, one that Turing supplied the formal means to answer rigorously. But whether the Turing computability served to capture the essence of computation as we understand is intuitively. Whether, therefore, it is a good idea to make a replacement, these are not a question that mathematics can decide. So Turing believed that he as a mathematician, it's not his business to make the mathematics or to make the machinery decide that that should do this or not. He said that's completely depend on, he just put all the things on philosopher. Philosophers should decide what should be done or not. It's a as a mathematician, his work is only to substitute invent the things which can substitute and make the people's life easy. So the title should given to this passage is what the Turings believe. Informal. Firstly, the Turing machine is a formal model of informal idea of computation. The idea that some problems can be solved mechanically by following a recipe or algorithm. Turing supply the formal means to answer rigorously. It's a good idea to make the replacement. These are not a question that mathematics can decide. But Turing left them to the philosophers. So let's moving toward the next pieces. In the same anti-philosophical spirit, Turing proposed that we replace the meaningless question, can machine think, with the empirically decidable question, can machine pass, what has come to be known as the Turing test. To understand this proposal, we need to look at the test which Turing called imitation game. So, we can summarize this passage by saying that the Turing replace the question, can machine can think, to can machine can pass. For that, he just invent a test which called the imitation game. So let's see what's for the whole for us. The game is to play by the three players, one man, one woman, and one person whose gender doesn't matter. Each has a distinct task. The player of the unspecified gender, the interrogator, has the job of figuring out which of the two is a man and which a woman. The woman's task is to serve as the interrogator's ally. The man is to cause the interrogator to make the wrong identification. So, what is the imitation game? So imitation game is played by the three players, one man and one woman, one man, one woman, and one whose gender is not matter. So it is the task of the gender to identify to figure it out who is a woman and who is a man. And the men's woman's is task is to serve interrogators Ellie, and the man is to cause the interrogator to make a wrong identification. So we can summarize the species how the imitation games work, how they, what is the rules of imitation game, how it's work, and we can just summarize it. So that's all for today. Hope you guys understand it. See you soon with the next subtopic of this eon. As of now, have a great day.